You know, I've also heard other people say that Sule Lamido's court case appears to be central to all of this. He's argued that he was denied a nomination form, and then Justice Lifu ruled in his favor, restraining INEC. What, in your opinion, are the implications of that for the legitimacy of the convention, especially with INEC's presence or absence at that convention?
You see, let's even take out INEC presence or absence in this case. Let's, like I referred to the case in Rivers State where I think it was Godwin Abe's supporter who approached the court against the APC then when Wike was governor in Rivers State for refusal to allow them purchase nomination, or that they purchased nomination but they were excluded from the primary process. So in the same vein here, and which was why the courts had their head. Mind you, before Lamido's case, the argument was that failure to hold world congresses in Anambra and there have been, I think, a few other states in the Southwest was fatal to any congress, any convention that the PDP would hold, that all states, world and state congresses must be concluded before the convention can be held. That was the first judgment. And then Sule Lamido had signified his intention to purchase a form because the party had agreed on a consensus candidate. And Sule Lamido said he disagreed and that he had signified his intention to purchase a form, and he was refused. And so he approached the Federal High Court in Abuja. Justice Lifu did rule that he cannot be excluded from the process. Excluding him from the process and going ahead with it was a nullity. And the argument, like what we later saw, the intention was that, well, let's shut out Sule Lamido from the process and then go ahead and then you can always go back to the court and say the horse has bolted. But the issue is there was a subsisting court order restraining the convention from going ahead on the ground of Sule Lamido's complaints. So whether the court in Oyo had also gone asked them to go ahead with the convention is a different matter altogether. It does not preclude Sule Lamido from continuing or concluding his case. And that Sule Lamido's case, like I said, because he also was not suspended, because the argument in most cases can be that once you are suspended from a political party, you no longer have the locus to challenge decisions of the party. So, but in the case of Sule Lamido, he is not suspended from the party. He remains a member of the party, even though he feels, bad, according to him, that he never imagined that the day will come when he will have to be suing PDP and requesting that the convention should not hold. But be that as it may, he's still a member of the party, and if he's not placated and he takes his matter to the highest level, that might affect whatever convention that had been held. And that's the court might eventually hold that PDP ought to obey a court order no matter, how, no matter how they see the court order. I don't want to use the word that is coming to mind.
I hear you. Some political side talks say, Sule Lamido's presence at one ADC meeting was the reason why they probably blocked him from getting the nomination form. But I want you to hear what the Adamawa state governor said at the ground of that convention, which brings to mind again precisely the position of the Electoral Act as to the presence or absence of INEC at such convention and what it means for its legality. Here's exactly what he said.
What we need is entrenched unity of purpose and better resolve and courage to soldier on beyond the election of our national officers. In the absence of INEC and as contend with merits of litigation for and against this convention, as the chairman, NCOC, it is not within my prerogative to go on with this exercise. It is for the delegates to decide. Thank you and God bless.
You heard him citing the multiplicity of litigations and indeed the absence of INEC as a reason why he wouldn't continue with that exercise. Some notable absence would also include the Rivers State governor and the governor of Plateau State, Governor Mutfwang. Both of them, Governor Fintiri and Mutfwang, have now reacted publicly, saying that they do not support the expulsion of those senior officers. But what is the position of the law? Because some have said INEC's absence means that what Sheyi Makinde had in Ibadan was just a gathering of friends. How do you react to that?
Difemi, like I said, what I just hope and I pray that this does not signal the beginning of the end of PDP. A political party is a political party. It's not a political party until it is recognized by INEC and it is allowed to feed candidates by INEC. And that's why you find out that most times they always pander to the body language of INEC until INEC recognize, if you have factions in any political party, there's the tendency to always wait for INEC to issue a statement declaring which side they recognize. Before now, it was the prerogative of INEC to not just monitor, but to announce elected officials, until the court judgment in Ganifa Emi's case that said INEC's responsibility is just to monitor and not participate. So if INEC, if you're holding a convention and INEC is clearly absent in your convention, what it means, like some persons have said, considering the fact that there were court judgment, what it means is that truly it might end up as a gathering of just friends, or like some people described it as a jamboree. But like I said, we'll wait to see if truly what the court will say. If the court, Justice Omotosho, Justice Lifo, and the court in Oyo, if what the Court of Appeal will say thereof and what the Supreme Court will subsequently say. But I can tell you, sitting here, that the failure of INEC to monitor that process is fatal. It's fatal to the outcome at the end of the day. And we have seen it before. And that's why I am saying that I just hope that this is not the beginning of the end for the PDP. But one would expect ordinarily that INEC should not wait, would not wait for the political parties to go to court to litigate before giving direction. I also blame INEC here because I would have expected that INEC would sit down. Once there are issues like this, INEC as a regulator should be able to sit down and spell out the guidelines for the political parties and what must be done, and not to wait for litigation and then you have to begin to wait for which judgment would come and which judgment wouldn't come. INEC failed in that responsibility. Because as a regulator, what's your responsibility? You wait, you fold your hands, the two warring factions are fighting, you have not said anything, you say, oh, go to court, and when the court rules, and that's what I will be. That's not the job of a regulator. The job of a regulator is to sit down, spell out the guideline that must be followed, and that must be strictly followed. And the failure to follow those guidelines, that way, INEC had declared a position ab initio, and everybody will fall into line. That will save all of this multiplicity of court action because the rules are clearly stated. But in a situation where INEC is waiting for the court to tell them what to do or what not to do, it also will not encourage, deepening our political democracy.
It may not